Anyone other than the applicant or representative wishing to speak must register and submit the registration slip to myself or the zoning administrator. They're found outside each door. Following the public hearing, the board will conduct its monthly business meeting, at which time we will vote on the applications. You may stay in for the meeting and hear how the applications are decided, or you may leave following the public hearing. The applicant and the town board will be sent a copy of tonight's decision. Any other person wishing to receive a copy of a decision can sign the sheet at the front of the room. Those wishing immediate knowledge of the outcome of these proceedings may call the county zoning office tomorrow morning. The procedure we will follow for hearing each application is, after the application is read, the applicant, their agent, or representative will have an opportunity to present their application, followed by any questions or comments from the board. Then all correspondence will be read. Then others in favor will have a chance to speak. Anyone objecting will then have a chance to speak. I will then ask for a summary of the board's field observations and staff comments. Finally, the applicant will be allowed a chance for a brief rebuttal if they wish. Anyone wishing to speak should use the microphone at the front of the room, state their name, and direct their comments to the board. I ask that all testimony be kept brief, no more than 5 minutes, and to the point. If you are testifying as a nearby landowner, please tell us where your property is located relative to the subject property. Tonight's hearing will be recorded, and the recordings will become part of the record. Comments that are based on hearsay or secondhand information, as well as slanderous or prejudicial remarks, will be ruled out of order. The board has looked at all the properties, and the record will reflect these observations. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this board has 30 days from the filing of tonight's decision to make an appeal. Such appeals shall be heard by the Waushara County Circuit Court. Information is available from the county clerk's office, from the clerk of court's office, and qualified legal counsel. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of this 30-day period. I'll introduce the rest of the board. On the far end is John Benz, George Wilson, Kevin Fitzgerald, Larry Tim. My name is Roger Wagner. Terry Dopp-Paukstedt, the zoning administrator, is seated to my right. First variance to be considered tonight, Edward and Sally Lillig, Aurora, Illinois, made an application for a variance in accordance with section 58-542, paragraph C and paragraph 2, and 58-823, paragraph C and paragraph 2 of the Waushara County Zoning Code to construct a 28 by 60, 1.5 story single family dwelling on an exposed basement, existing family dwelling and concrete patio to be raised coming to within 9 feet of the easterly and westerly side lot lines, 15-foot setback required on a non-conforming lot, non-conforming due to lot width in the RS-20 residential single-family zone within the shoreland area. Location, a parcel of land known as Lot 15, a Prothero Shores subdivision, located in government lots 2 and 3, being part of the northwest 1/4, the northeast 1/4, section 2, Town of Mount Morris, Hills Lake, W5503, Hillcrest Boulevard. The applicant come forward, please.
I'm Jeff Lillig, the son of Edward and Sally Lillig, so I'm kind of helping them out tonight. And also I am the neighbor to the east side of their property.
Okay.
What they're looking to do quite succinctly is to get a approval of the variance of the 15-foot setback requirement. They're going to raise the cottage house that was built in the 40s, and so 60s from their old house. As you stated, take that existing house out and then put up a house. We're going to be centering that house in that property. The existing house is hugging the west lot line, and what we will do is center that house on that property.
Okay, just a few general questions for the record then. Has there been a recent survey out there?
Yes.
You know where the stakes are and everything?
Yes.
Okay. And you're sure of all the lot lines? Have you talked to the neighbors in the township about this project?
Yes, we have sent a letter to the neighbors, and also did talk to the neighbor strictly to the left, the Andersons. And the letters, we did not get any written feedback from them.
Okay. Pretty much everything is gonna be gone that's there except the garage, is that correct?
That's correct. We are gonna reuse the septic. That's not that old, but the well will have to be new, because that is underneath the house.
Okay. And you're probably gonna re-side the garage or something to tie it into, so it all looks,
We'll look to do that. We didn't set the plans for that specifically, but at some point probably look to do that.
okay. You said this is going to be on an exposed but not a walkout basement, correct?
Yeah, the front towards the lake will
Have
have
some
about
windows.
4 feet out. There's a natural grade, of course, to the land. So you set the back of the house, and they'll be about 4 feet up and exposed in the front of the house.
You're probably not gonna do a lot of filling.
No, there won't be,
Your-
there's some natural grade to it, so there's really no filling or backfilling.
Your finish grade is probably gonna be about where you're at now?
That
or-
is correct.
Okay. Not gonna disturb any of the shorelines, so there's probably not gonna be a lot of erosion
No.
control towards the water then, huh? Any other improvements planned at this time?
Not at this specific time.
Okay. All other setbacks will be met, right?
Absolutely.
And did you say you were gonna use the old septic?
The septic was, what's that? 2004. It was new in 2004, so we're gonna reuse that existing septic.
And there's no other non-conforming structures on the property, is that correct?
The garage is over the actually over the lot line on the west, the Anderson's property, but that's an existing condition.
That
The garage is
situation
staying-
is addressed and taken care of?
Yeah, it has been, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
If an approval were granted, when would you start this construction project?
I think this winter we'd still work to tear down the existing house. There's no sense to heat it and keep it from freezing and stuff. So we'd look to tear it down and potentially, if the weather held up, maybe even do the concrete before the winter.
Any other committee questions?
I have one. Do you know what the overall height of the building is?
Mark, do you know off the top of your head there? I can take a quick look here. It's a 2-story house. Let me see if I got it here. The lakeside, 28 feet high.
Okay. We have a 35-foot maximum, so we always want to make sure you meet that.
Okay, no other questions? You can have a chair. Thank you. Any correspondence on this one?
We have one letter from the DNR. It's actually an email that I received earlier today. Addressed to me, Terry, I am writing to provide comments regarding the Newwald, Long, and Lillig property variance requests that are to be heard before the Waushara County Board of Adjustment on Thursday, November 17th. Thank you for your time and assistance in discussing these requests and providing me with application materials. I am providing these comments in place of making an appearance in person. Please have them delivered to and/or read before the Board of Adjustments. Now I'll just read the part that pertains to Lillig's. Since the property is legally outside the averaged ordinary high water mark setback, the department has no comment on this request. Please note that these comments are in regard to shoreland zoning only and do not reflect applicable erosion control, waterway permitting, or other department regulations. Thank you for the opportunity to provide comments on the variance requests, and please contact me if you have any questions regarding this email. And that's signed by Michael Wenholtz, Department of Natural Resources. And that's the only correspondence.
No one registered to speak in favor or objection. Staff comments? Okay. Did you have a sheet filled out?
No, sir, I did not. I didn't,
You just,
is there a problem with that?
Can you fill one out afterwards? Is that okay with you?
just step up and tell us your name and,
My name is Tom Nguyen. I live 2 houses away, 3 houses away from Ed. And my wife and I feel that this would be a real nice addition to our community.
okay,
That's more than what else to say.
okay. Well, thank you for coming, and I think she's gonna get you a slip, and you can just fill it out and hand it to us then. That way we've got a record that you were here. Do you have any staff comments then?
For the record, the board has previously been furnished with a copy of the site plan and all the other pertinent data for this and the other application that they're going to be considering tonight. And they also visited both properties and viewed the proposals actually on site. So they are aware of the property conditions and how the proposal would fit on the property. I'd like to explain a little bit more about variances. Variances merely ask for a relaxation of a dimensional standard in the code. And the decision to grant a variance must be backed by substantive reasons. They include that there's an unnecessary hardship being caused by the code requirement. There are unique limitations on the property that prevent the landowner from meeting the required dimensional standards. And that if the variance is granted, that no harm will be done to the public interest or the zoning code. So those are the three things that every variance needs to meet. And it's the applicant's responsibility to present that case and provide the burden of proof as to why the variance should be granted. The board cannot take into consideration the personal situation of the applicant, financial hardship, nearby violations, a bunch of things that they cannot consider. They have to look at those 3 standards. When the board visited the property, they noted that there is not currently a boathouse on the property and that the existing stairs, while in ground, are in good shape and do not seem to pose any problems with erosion. They also noticed the existing detached garage is over the lot line. The existing septic system was from 2004, and the plans are to hook it up to the new home. And while there is a full basement proposed, it will not be a walkout basement. As far as my comments, it's just a request to build on a non-conforming lot closer to the side lot lines than what is normally allowed in the zoning district. And because of the width of the lot, I think it's a pretty straightforward request. So that's it.
Okay. Next variance to be considered, Cheryl Newwald and Robert Long, Greendale, Wisconsin, made an application for variance in accordance with section 58-452, paragraph C and paragraph 4 of Waushara County Zoning Code to construct a 36 by 60 one-story, 2-family dwelling on a slab with a 5-foot by 10-foot covered entrance and a 8 by 56 covered porch, existing mobile home with addition to be raised. Conditional use application pending for a 2-family dwelling, coming to within 60 feet of a channel connected to Wilson Lake, 75-foot setback required in the AG General Agricultural Zone within the shoreline area. Location, a parcel of land known as part of Government Lot 4, being part of the southwest 1/4, the southeast 1/4, Section 27, Town of Springwater, Wilson Lake, W5898 Archer Lane. The applicant present?
My name is Robert Long. My sister Cheryl Newald, my wife Christy, and Cheryl's husband Steve. We were given this property, or deeded this property, by our late father back in 2008, I believe it was. And he purchased the property in 1974, and it has that mobile home on it, and it is just done, it's fulfilled its use. Our families are growing, we use the property a lot, so we'd like to put a 2-family house up. And the reason that we need to ask for the 75-foot setback variance on the channel is the the eastern side of our property is pretty soft, so to ask for a variance on that side would be a unnecessary hardship for us. The channel is not a natural body of water on Wilson Lake. It was dug out back in the 1940s by Patzer's Resort, and they connected it to a pond. They hit hard pan, and it's just a skunky mess, really, is what it is right now. So that's really about it.
Okay. Few questions for the record then. Has there been a recent survey out there?
Yes,
And you know where all the stakes are?
yes,
You're sure of all the lot locations and the ordinary high water mark? That was
Yes.
flagged for you?
yes. We had that done.
Okay. What type of foundation is this gonna be placed on?
It's going to be on a slab, a concrete slab.
How far above the existing grade will the first floor elevation be?
I'm not sure.
Come on up.
Could you come up, though?
Steve took care of the survey, so.
Excuse me. My name is Steve Newell. I'm a certified electrician, so years ago, when I came into the family, I put a service on for the property, and I hit water at 3 feet. So knowing that we're gonna have to have soil test done, and I know we're gonna have to put pilings in, and have actually the slab not floating, it's gonna be set on pilings, because we don't wanna put a slab down and then have it crack. So we're gonna be minimum above, probably 6 to 8 inches above finish. I mean,
With your,
One step in or two step?
yeah, one
Yeah,
step or
one-
two.
one
That's it. But knowing how the soil is there, we're not gonna put that type of a structure and have it, crack on us. So we're gonna, get a engineer out there and do soil tests. And like I said, I work construction, so I know how things are, and that's what we're gonna end up doing.
I guess what we're asking, you're not gonna bring in a mountain of fill and
Oh, no, we're not gonna raise it or
and divert water unnecessarily to a neighbor or something?
no, we're, the minimum required, we're getting old in age too, so we're just gonna wanna, as few steps to get in as possible. Well, we are.
You or
yeah.
me?
No, I'm
I
sorry.
was wondering that myself. Feeling older by the minute.
I screwed up right now. Sorry.
Should've never brought him up.
But,
You
no.
go sit down now.
Any more questions for me?
Sure, we got a few more we'll take it a shot
Okay.
at. What's the finished height gonna be?
That I don't know. It's on the drawings that we supplied, but I don't know off the top of my head. We supplied a
It's-
drawing package.
It's just one story,
It's
so
just
it's
one
not going to be
story.
more than
It's-
35 feet.
No, it's
right?
not going to be more than 35 feet.
Any other improvements planned at this time?
No,
And all other setbacks will be met?
yes.
And what about a septic system?
We're going to be replacing the existing holding tank with 2 new ones.
Have you considered like a 2-story structure or anything, or you wanna stay with a 1-story?
We want to stay with a 1-story.
aging
Probably because of our,
population?
Yeah, because of our age, yeah.
I understand. You're gonna remove the mobile home, the travel trailer?
Yes.
The privy? Or you gonna
Uh,
keep the vault privy that's there?
We weren't planning on moving the privy, but we may have to.
well,
If we have to, we will.
and I'm not sure it'll meet setbacks from certain things. Vault privies do need to meet certain setbacks, and where it was sitting as opposed to where your new structure was laid out, I think it might have to be relocated.
Oh, really? Okay. I know we had pulled a permit when my dad put that in,
Right.
but yeah, if it's got to be moved, we'll remove it.
The other, structure, you're gonna leave the,
The shed?
small shed?
Yes.
And are there any other non-conforming structures on the property
No.
that fire pit, considered a structure?
That's considered a structure? Oh, really? Okay. I was not aware of that. Yeah, if we have to move it, we
Kinda
will.
close to the water and.
Not as close as it used to be.
Well, the shed, is that shed at least 7.5 feet from the lot line?
I'd have to check. I
We were a little confused. It looked like the lot stakes would be out in the marsh, so they
Yeah,
were set off 10 feet,
yeah.
and it didn't
Yeah, because
seem
I
like-
believe they say 20 feet. So yes, I believe it would be.
Okay.
I believe it would be.
Have you given any thought to revegetating the shoreline there?
No, we have not. That's the way the shoreline has been since
Pretty natural.
yeah, since 74 when my dad bought the place. That's the way it's been. We've actually put a couple of trees in just to stop the erosion.
And what kind of timetable are you on if the approval were granted?
Well, I talked to our builder yesterday. He said that if we can get everything taken care of, he could possibly start yet this year, weather permitting. But we'll definitely have the existing structure out of here this winter, and the spring would be when we would start. Just depends on if they can get the concrete done this fall yet.
Any other committee questions?
How would your builder be able to get down your road with all his necessary equipment? That's pretty tight in there,
It's pretty tight in there, yes it is. He said he can get down there.
because it's not really a good setup, especially with emergency vehicles, et cetera. It was tough for us to even get down there.
We had a little bit of damage from the snowstorm last year.
'Cause it's probably up to town standards, but it's not up to county standards. There is a county standard that roadway, it's a suggestion.
Okay.
We can't make you do it, but it's a suggestion. You might want to look at making that a little bit wider.
We try and make it as wide as what we can at least twice a year because that's a lot of buckthorn in there, and we
Exactly.
end up cutting it back, and it just grows. And everybody knows what buckthorn does, and to try and get it out of there, it's been a real challenge over the years. But we cut it back.
But you're
And
putting up a nice place there. You'd hate to have it burned down because the fire department couldn't get through.
I would I
No.
would tend to agree with that. Yes.
Well,
have
there
a
is
que- I have a
something in the county standards that says the brush does need to be cleared for emergency access. It's not just a suggestion, it is a requirement, so.
Well, I know that my son stopped by last weekend on his way up bow hunting, and he couldn't even get down the driveway. And my daughter,
We could tell
Cleared.
somebody'd been in there.
yeah, and my daughter and her boyfriend cleaned it out on Sunday, I believe it was, so you guys could get down there a little bit easier.
Good.
So I'll have to talk to her about doing a better job.
Yes,
Yes.
we have a copy of the survey here, and it shows Lot 1 and Lot 2. Do I understand it correctly that you do not own Lot 2? Where your driveway is on?
Oh, yes, we do not own that. That's a easement, a deeded easement. Patzers actually owns that easement.
Are there other property owners that use that
No,
driveway?
we are the only ones.
Any other questions? Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Correspondence?
Again, we just have the one email from DNR, and it starts out the same way. I'm writing to provide comments regarding the Newald, Long, and Lillig property variance requests that are to be heard before the Waushara County Board of Adjustments on Thursday, November 17th, 2011. Thank you for your time and assistance in discussing these requests and providing me with application materials. I am providing these comments in place of making an appearance in person. Please have them delivered to and/or read before the Board of Adjustments. On the Newald and Long application, he says the department does not believe unnecessary hardship has been demonstrated for this proposal and thus believes the request should be denied. It certainly appears numerous alternative building designs should be considered that meet all setbacks. However, if the Board of Adjustment should find that the applicants have demonstrated the property and situation meets all criteria required for granting a variance and that the request can be approved, the department requests that at least the following conditions accompany any approval. Install and maintain vegetative shoreline buffers according to NRCS Standard 643A in Wisconsin Biological Technical Note Number 1 as much as possible, and as found in Section 58-903, Parens N, Parens 5 of the Waushara County Zoning Code, along at least 70% of the inlet canal side and 70% of the Wilson Lake side of the property to a depth of 35 feet from the ordinary high water mark. Support for this is in the Waushara County Code, Section 58-903, Parent N, Parent 3, and 58-903, Parent N, Parent 3A. Second, assure that movable campers shown on the site plan are not parked within the ordinary high water mark setbacks. And third, remove any accessory structures recommended by the Waushara County Land Conservation and Zoning Department. Please note that these comments are in regard to shoreline zoning only and do not reflect applicable erosion control, waterway permitting, or other department regulations. Thank you for the opportunity to provide comments on the Newald, Long, and Lillig property variance requests. Please contact me if you have any questions regarding this email. And again, that's signed Michael Wenholtz, DNR. And that's it for correspondence.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor or objection to this property variance?
No one registered.
Okay. Staff comments?
This application is similar to the last one. You know, we're looking at a variance to the water setback from the channel on the side of the property. They do meet all the other setbacks, including the 75-foot setback to the actual lake, Wilson Lake. Whether a duplex should be located here or not is the question before the board. It is not the question before the board, I'm sorry, but rather the question here is, should there be a relaxation of the setback to the channel for this structure? You know, they really have to figure out if this proposed construction fits on this lot. When the board visited the property, they noted that the shed and privy are currently too close to the lot line, or at least it appeared that they were, and may be located too close to the proposed dwelling to meet code requirements. There's a patio with fire pit located very near the lake. The applicant will need to provide adequate parking in a turnaround area so they don't have to back out to the road. And revegetation along the shoreline would screen the structure from the water bodies, stabilize the shoreline, and help attenuate any runoff from the structure. That's it.
Okay, if the applicant has anything in rebuttal to whatever was said from the DNR, or
I guess I don't fully understand, I don't fully understand what they're saying as far as, I know I was trying to process everything at once. The DNR is actually recommending that you not allow us, if you guys agree to it, it's okay with them, but it wouldn't be their recommendation, is that how?
That's kind of what he's saying, but
That's
then,
what
but
he's
then if the
saying.
board does find that those statutory things that we talked about
Okay.
are met, that they could grant it.
Okay. Well, you know, whatever,
But there should be these other factors.
yeah, I mean, and
Close as
and if you
mitigation.
recommend that, you know, I mean, if we have to get rid of the privy, if we have to move the shed, that's fine. We can move the fire pit. You know, we'll follow whatever the board recommendations are. It's been in our family for, you know, almost 40 years now, and we'd like for it to stay in our, you know, to stay in our family. So this is one of the, I guess it's the first step. The next one we have to talk about when that one comes up, but we have to get both of them approved. So I don't know if I'm asking questions or just trying to state my case a little bit better.
fine.
Okay?
Okay, that
I have
closes.
one question. What happens if we approve and the zoning denies?
It doesn't really matter, because you're looking at the placement on the property, and they're looking at whether it should be a duplex or not. So, you know, it doesn't, to me, it doesn't really matter. They might get one, and they might not get the other, but,
But if it's,
or they might get both, or they might not get either one.
but if it's not a duplex, they may not have to build it as big as it is.
Then you could maybe make a condition that you would approve it only if they get approval from the Planning and Zoning Committee. You could make that one of the conditions.
Okay, that closes the public hearing. We will adjourn to the room directly behind us. Probably the Newalds and Longs need to stay here, right?
No, actually, we're going to hear their conditional use second, so they should be able to go in with you and hear that decision and then come back for the conditional use.
Okay.
Take it Fred isn't coming. Rerouted with his Christmas trees or something.
Maybe he's still on them.
Still hauling trees. So he's gonna get absented.
I'm on the right page. Oh, yeah. If you want to go in and hear the decision, they'll do yours right
Yeah,
after
you
they
can-
do the
you
other
can go in-
people's.
you can go in the
So you can go
room.
in and hear the decision on your application. Nobody ever uses it. Might need it on you.
Thank you. I will call this meeting of the Waushara County Planning and Zoning Committee to order. They can hear me, I speak loud enough. This meeting will be conducted in the same manner as applications heard by the Board of Adjustments. Please remember to keep your comments brief and relative to the matter at hand. Anyone other than the applicant or the representative wishing to speak at this hearing must have registered. Anyone who has not should do so immediately and submit the registration slip to the zoning administrator. The committee has looked at all the properties and recorded with reflect these observations. Following the public hearing, the committee will conduct their monthly business meeting, at which time we will vote on the applications. You may stay and hear how the applications are decided, or you may leave following the public hearing. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this committee has 10 days from the filing of tonight's decision to file an appeal. Such appeals are heard by the Waushara County Board of Adjustments. Information and applications are available from the county zoning office. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as to the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of the 10-day period. I will now introduce the Zoning and Planning Committee. To my far left, Joe Piaski, Larry Crawford, Bob Wadle, Terry Dopp Poxted, Zoning Administrator, and my name is Mark Kirschner. First application that we were going to hear tonight, Karen Bauer, Wautoma, Wisconsin, has made application for a zone change in accordance with sections 58-131 through 138 and 58-451 of the Waushara County Zoning Code from an AG 10, General Agricultural 10-acre minimum, to an AG 5, General Agricultural 5-acre minimum, for the purpose of creating one lot being a minimum of 5.0 acres in size, and selling the remaining to the adjoining landowner. Location, an approximate 10-acre parcel of land known as Lot 1 of Certified Survey Map number 1523, being part of the west half of the northeast quarter, Section 9, Town 19 North, Range 10 East, Town of Wautoma, fire number N4398 15th Drive. Is the applicant present? Would you state your name for the record, please?
I'm Karen Bauer.
Can you tell us anything, Karen? Or give
Yeah,
us some information?
I bought this property in 1985, and it's been my home since then. And what I'd like to do is divide it into two 5-acre parcels, and my neighbor has expressed interest in buying the one 5-acre parcel, and I would keep the one with the house and garage on it, of course. And basically, I just want to, I plan on being there for my retirement, and I just want to pay off my mortgage and downsize, and that's something personal, but
Any questions?
Yeah, you plan on making your lot the minimum 5-acre size for this zone and then selling the remainder to a neighbor, correct?
yes, the adjoining neighbor.
You have a newer septic system that was installed in 1980s, which the soil there is being good enough for a conventional system, is that right?
Yes, I had a fire right after I bought my home, and I had a new septic system put in in 1986.
Does the neighbor already have access to the property?
There is
No new driveways are needed?
no, there is an access road to the back where the trees and their property is. There's already like a farm road, which would be on that 5-acre parcel that I'm selling, that I'd like to sell.
So there will have to be a new driveway?
No,
Oh, okay. Okay. Have you reviewed this proposal with the township? Have you talked to the township about this?
actually, I didn't attend, but my neighbor, Clark Riley, attended the town board meeting, and the township has discussed it.
Are you aware of the surveying and the county view and the fee requirement?
Yes, mm-hmm.
If approved if approval is granted, when would the certified survey map be ordered?
Well, hopefully this season yet before the big snow flies.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
One other thing, there's other lots right next, kind of across the road, similar in size, Karen, is that correct?
There's a small, I don't know how big the lot right across the road is. It's actually that person moved last year out of the area, and the home is for sale, and it's empty.
We noticed that there's some other homes across the road there and stuff like that.
There's a subdivision right
Yeah,
across the road.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any other committee questions? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Karen. Correspondence?
We have one letter from the town of Watoma. Dear Terry, the town of Watoma has had contact with Karen Bauer. She has a request to subdivide her lot located at N4398 15th Road. She is presently in an AG 10 area, which means it's general agricultural with a 10-acre minimum, and she is looking to go to an AG 5, general agricultural with a 5-acre minimum, and sell part of her lot to Chad Riley. After talking with you, the town of Watoma convened the town of Watoma Land Use Planning Commission. On October 4th, 2011, the Planning Commission met and discussed this request. The Commission considered the location. Each of the Commission members was aware that in this area of the town, there are many smaller lot sizes that have been there before the land use plan was put in place. This area along 15th Road does not have a lot of large tracts of land that the minimum 10-acre requirement was intended for. The Planning Commission did recommend to the town board that the Bauer request be granted. At the October 4th, 2011 town board meeting, the board did consider the recommendation of the Land Use Planning Commission. The town board passed a resolution in favor of granting Karen Bauer's request for a change to AG 5. The town board will work on showing this change on the map at our November meeting. And thank you, and it's signed Jeffrey L. Nett, town chair. No other correspondence and no one registered.
Just a correction, that's Clay Riley was going to purchase, not Chad.
This says Chad, so
Okay.
I have to read what they write
Sure.
to me.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Okay, no one in favor, no one opposition? Staff comments?
For the record, the committee has previously been furnished with a copy of the site plan and all the other data for this and the other application they're going to be considering tonight. And they also did go and view the properties out in the field. I'd like to explain a little bit about zone changes. A zone change results in a permanent change to the overlying zone for the property, and that governs the allowable uses on the property. In this case, it's really limited to the minimum lot size that is considered buildable when creating a new lot. So if you had AG 10, you'd have to have at least 10-acre minimum lot size. In an AG 5, it'd be 5 acres minimum. There's an AG 3. There's AG 1. You know, we have all kinds of them. But this is a request to go from AG 10, which was proposed in the town's land use plan, down to AG 5. It is also a 3-step process, with the Planning and Zoning Committee being the first body to review this application and then make a decision on whether to approve or deny. If the application is approved here, it would then go to the full county board, and if it's approved there, then it goes to the township for the final approval. So it does need an approval at all three steps. We do know that the town of Watoma's Planning Commission has already recommended to the town board that the lot size be changed, and they're working on the formalities of that. The Planning and Zoning Committee is bound to make their decisions based on what is in both the town and the county's land use plan. The county's land use plan does defer to the town's land use plan for lot sizes, so their word is the one that they need to follow here. The other thing I want to explain is, even though you have what you think is 10 acres, it's 9.5 acres if you take out the road right-of-way. And that's the acreage we always look at as the net acreage minus road right-of-ways, easements, those kind of things. So you can really only get one 5-acre lot out of this, and the remaining 4.5 would have to go to a neighbor. They could add a half an acre to it and then, you know, sell it that way. But just so you're aware, you're not going to get quite 2 5-acre lots. So that's kind of a little technicality too. When the committee visited the property, they noted that there are several other small lots in the area. Any new driveways should meet minimum requirements, including spacing standards, and that the past sanitary permit does indicate that the soil conditions are good out there for treatment of any wastewater generated. And that's it.
That's it for staff comments. Okay. Anything else, Karen, you'd like to add? Okay. All right. You want to just hold up here a little bit until they get back in here?
Yep. I think
And
they're coming.
They're coming just at the right time.
Yep. It was perfect timing.
The next application that we'll hear tonight is a conditional use for Cheryl Newald and Robert Long, Greendale, Wisconsin, have made application for a conditional use in accordance with sections 58-454, paragraph 32 of the Waushara County Zoning Code to establish a two-family dwelling duplex with the proposed construction of a 36 by 60 one-story two-family dwelling on a slab with a 5-foot by 10-foot covered entrance and an 8-foot by 56 covered porch. Existing mobile home with addition to be raised in the AG General Agricultural Zone in the Shoreland area. Variance application pending to be reduced. A parcel of land being known as part of the government Lot 4, being part of southwest quarter of the southeast quarter, section 27, town 20, range 11 east, town of Springwater, Wilson Lake, fire number W 5898 Archer Lane. The applicant want to come forward, please?
Yes, once again, I'm Robert Long. My sister Cheryl, wife Chris, my sister's husband Steve. We've had the property since 1974. My father had the property since 1974. And the existing mobile home has, quite frankly, outlived its usage on our property. I have 2 children. My sister has 5 children, and we just need a bigger place. We'd like to each one of us have our own. It will never be turned into any type of rental property or anything like that. We're working up some deals to keep it in the family right now, you know, forever. And it's just something that we've looked forward to doing forever, and that's really what I have to say about that.
Committee questions, please?
We're going to have some of the same questions you answered before.
Okay, no problem.
Public record.
No problem.
You've explained the reasons for establishing the duplex. The existing home, travel trailer, and septic system will all be removed, and a new two-family structure will be put back in with a new septic system, right?
That is correct.
Will construction meet all the required setbacks?
Yes. Except for the variance that we are requesting.
Are you planning any other construction at this time?
No.
Will there be any changes or improvements to the driveway?
Yes. I just found that out, yes.
Can that be done on that?
We're gonna cut the buckthorn to widen it. They're gonna give us some recommendations. I guess there's something we can spray on the stumps after we cut it to try and, you know, keep it back. But and hopefully it works.
Next question, if you talk to the neighbors in the township?
Yes, and I have attached letters from all my neighbors within 300 feet on both sides with their approval. Yes, I have. Chuck Patzer. Yes, I've talked to him.
We have adequate room for parking for all the vehicles in there?
Yes. Okay. One of the concerns that they had was a turnaround for the cars. And if you were there today, we have our pontoon boat parked in the turnaround.
We were in there, we
Yeah.
turned around, but we're the only vehicle there.
Okay.
So we don't know if you're gonna have more boats and how many cars are gonna be in this.
Yeah, no, that's, normally the boat's in the water and the trailer's gone, so. But you can turn around right there. Alrighty, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. Correspondence?
We have the letters submitted by the Newalds and Longs. I think they all say the same thing, right? Okay. So I'll read the letter and then I'll read all the names. Robert L. Long from Greendale, Wisconsin. In late summer, we had a conversation regarding improvements to our lake property at W5898 Archer Lane on Wilson Lake. We discussed the plans of building a small side-by-side home. Waushara County would appreciate a signed statement by our neighbors within 300 feet of our property indicating that you agree with our request for a conditional use permit for our proposed plan. We need to submit this to the Zoning Commission by October 15th, so your prompt attention will be greatly appreciated. And that's signed, thank you, Bob Long and Cheryl Newald. Then there's a little check mark that says, yes, I agree with the Long-Newald plan to build a side-by-side home. And the first one is signed by, it's the representative of Wisconsin WisProp LLC, and I think it says M. Fay, W5864 Archer Lane. Does that sound right?
Yes, his last name is
Oh, much longer than it appears. Flip. Okay, so it's
That must
it's
be
from
how- that's how
Flip.
he's got it kind of signed.
Okay. And the next one is signed by Mark Lemke, W5876 Archer Lane. The next one is Chuck Patzer, W5944 Archer Lane. And finally, Paul Zimmer, Lake Association President, W5940 North Wilson Lake Road. Neighbor, but he's the Lake Association President. And that's it.
They were all recommending approval then, Terry?
Yeah, they all check the little box that says, I agree with the plan.
Okay. All right. Anyone in favor or opposition?
Nope, no one registered to speak.
Staff comments.
Conditional use permits, I want to explain a little bit about those, because people tend to get them all mixed up, so I like to explain why there's a little bit of difference in all the applications that we've heard tonight. All of the defined zones have uses that are permitted outright. You know, you can usually build a single-family dwelling in every zone that we have, but then there are some things that they want to have a little bit more control over, so they're called conditional use permits that may be permitted, provided that they fit in with the surrounding properties, but there's usually conditions on them. That's why they're called conditional uses. That's what we're looking at here. It doesn't require a zone change. It doesn't require, you know, it's not a business, so we don't need a commercial zone, but we're looking at a conditional use in that zone, so it's something that needs to fit in, and generally some conditions put on it help that. Some counties, they do call them special exception permits, so that sometimes that makes it a little easier to understand. It's the landowner's responsibility to provide the information that shows the committee this use will still be in keeping with the zone and area that it is proposed for, and that the conditions placed on it will ensure it will continue to be a good neighbor to the surrounding landowners. When the committee visited the property, they noted that if approved, a second fire number will need to be assigned. The existing holding tank will have to be replaced. There's a campground located next door across the channel, so there's already a denser population than you might normally find in a single-family residential zone. And the driveway should be improved to allow emergency vehicle access. That's it.
Okay, is there anything else the applicant would like to add? Okay. That concludes our public hearing applications. We will now conclude with our business meeting.